Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Welsh, and I am here with Payroll4Construction today. I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar on how Payroll4Construction can help CPAs better serve their construction clients. So today, this is for CPE credits, so I'll have 3 polling questions, kind of spread them throughout the webinar today, and I'll make sure I give everybody ample time to get those filled in and taken care of. If anybody misses one, they can type it in there too. Sometimes the polling questions kind of get stuck. So I've had issues with it in the past. So just if you type it in on the questions thing, not a question, but just the answer, we'll still make sure that you get those credits. Remind everybody, for anyone who's not familiar, that this is a listen-only broadcast. So unfortunately, you won't be able to talk and interact with me, but I'll provide all my information. So if questions come up as we go, you can type them in. Some of them I may just go ahead and answer right then and there if it is pertaining to exactly what we're discussing here. Some of them, if I know I'm going to get there towards the end, I'll make sure I address those, as I get to that part of the webinar. And then at the end, I'll also open it up for questions. So let's just start with a brief overview of who we are here at Payroll4Construction. So Payroll4Construction is an online payroll service provider. So, similar to some of the traditional ones, ADP paychecks, we pay the employees via check, direct deposit, pay city, state, federal taxes, quarterlies, wage garnishments if the client chooses, W-2s, and Affordable Care Act stuff for those clients that are in a situation where they have to follow that. We do process payroll in all 50 states. So in construction, obviously, you have a lot of moving parts. There's not just a central office. Well, there may be, for office and a shop for the shop, but the field employees are moving around. So, whether your client has employees spread out through different states, we keep up with all 50 state tax laws, all of those items, and then if you have a client that actually works in multiple states, so is sending employees from state 1 to 2 to 3, we do a really good job of tracking that, keeping up with all the tax compliance as these laws are ever changing. What makes us a little unique here, and you'll kind of see this here in a few minutes, once I kind of get through this PowerPoint, we'll actually jump into the online software that powers the payroll service, which is our sister company called Foundation Software. So some of you may have heard of that. Some of you may even have clients that use our full accounting system, but again, you don't have to have clients that use our accounting system. We work with clients that have QuickBooks or Sage products. So again, this is a standalone service, but kind of how we can tackle a lot of the things I'm going to jump into here in a few minutes is because we built this software over 35 years ago, and it was meant for nothing but complex construction payroll. So some of the things that, really kind of muddy the waters for contractors is kind of, I touched on this, some of the multi-state stuff. We're based out of Cleveland, Ohio. So here in Ohio, if you're familiar, we deal with city taxes, not just even different state jurisdictions, but all within, the state of Ohio. I mean, geez, you could drive a mile one way, 2 miles to the next way, and you could be in different cities. Another big focus we have here, not that we don't work with clients that aren't prevailing wage or aren't union contractors. We have clients that do that stuff. It just, most of those clients then are looking for more detailed job costing and things of that nature, or again, have the multi-state issues. But one of our big focuses here, and one of the things we really do a good job of, is certified payroll prevailing wage. So, when you get into that, whether you're non-union or a union contractor, the reality is here is that the rates could change based on, again, where they're working. I don't have it displayed here, but even what they're doing. So, operator class 1 versus operator class 2, or, if you're a non-union contractor, sometimes they're doing labor, sometimes they're doing plumbing or electrical. And when you start hitting that government or prevailing wage realm, that starts to dictate these rates. The fringe calculations on both, prevailing wage side, non-union prevailing wage, and also on the union side, a lot of those, some of them aren't subject to overtime, some are based on a percentage of their gross, some are taxable versus non. So we'll kind of get into that here once we jump in, but we do a great job with that as well. And then prevailing wage fringe reduction factor. So, if they're a non-union client, one of the things that happens is oftentimes they are offering vacation, they are offering health insurance, 401k matches. So we do a good job of being able to explain to them that, hey, whether they know this or not, in a lot of states, you can take a credit for that so that they can back that off the fringe. But it becomes kind of difficult because with all these ever-moving rates per job, per work class, now this credit is pretty unique to each individual employee because some will have different benefits, more vacation, less vacation. So we see a lot of contractors not doing it just because of how much more complex it makes their payroll, whereas our system can automate that process for them. And then workers' comp. So again, these employees move, they do different things. This causes a chain reaction from not just rates to workers' comp. If you're a roofing company and, when you're up on the roof, that workers' comp rate goes way up. So if you don't have the ability to say, well, now he's on the ground, cleaning up the tear off, you're kind of just stuck at that high rate. So we can do a good job of separating that out so that they're never overpaying, never underpaying. And when it comes time for that audit, that proof, it's going to be right there for a report right there for them to take a look at. Okay. The other tough part here is, in fact, when I talk to a lot of clients, it's, paying the employees and taxes is great. Relieving the liability as an employer, not having to worry about, somebody up and quitting on you or somebody missing a tax payment. I mean, we're all human. These things happen. So, that part, yes, that's what people come to us for. But the other big reason is, again, the reporting that comes after that. In a lot of industries and businesses, you pay your employees, you make that tax payment, and you're done with payroll till the following week or until the following quarter, whenever your taxes are due. In construction, as well as I do, there's a whole slew of reports that come after, and a lot of them are on a weekly basis, if not a monthly basis, and that starts with, again, certified payroll, EEO minority compliance reports. And the tough thing is nowadays, depending on where you're at in the country, what state, or even within one state, what agency you're working for. Certified payroll, I always tell people out there looking that it's become a pretty generic term. And what I mean by that is that, well, yeah, I can give you a certified payroll on, let's just call it the U.S. Department of Labor, the one that was generally accepted everywhere for many years, but you're doing work for New York City, or you're doing work in California, where now there is really no more paper. In California, you got to use LCP Tracker or go to the California DIR website. New York City has its own format, the New York Dormitory Authority, same with New Jersey. So there's just, all these reports want very similar, if not the same information for the most part. They all have it laid out differently, and that's kind of the way they want it. So I really stress that don't just let a company that you're looking at tell you, yeah, we have certified payroll, because if they put it on the form that you don't need and you have to spend hours transferring that data, it's just not as streamlined as it could be. So you'll see when we get in here, we take pride on, as these forms change, as new ones come out, we go in, we update them for our clients, because it's the only type of client we deal with. Same with EEO minority compliance, there's different ones there as well. So job costing, big reason why a lot of people are fearful to outsource, or, some people are just looking for better costing as well. So with us being powered by parts of a job cost accounting system, we're going to track everything. And so when I say job costing, I make sure I highlight to the client, if you pay Bob $20 an hour and he works 10 hours, sure, that's $200 to said job or project. However, within that is FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' comp, union fringes or non-union fringes, whatever you're paying. So those types of things being a part of all the reporting are very key to making sure that their job costing stays intact. Workers' comp, again, not just the ability to track it, the ability to provide them with reports. We don't get involved in paying workers' comp here. We kind of like to let each individual client go out there and figure out, who can get them the best rates, who's the best for them for 401k. So when it comes to those things, we're really acting more of a tracking and reporting mechanism for the client, and then they're submitting payments at their frequency set up with said provider. Child support, again, that's one of those things when I work with a client, some people say it takes them, a minute a week to do, so it's not worth paying us to do it. Others, they want to push off as much as they possibly can, as much as we're willing to take on, and then we can handle that as well. And then lastly, the union reports, being able to provide those for the audit and payment purposes as well. Now, again, when I do these one-on-one demonstrations, whether it's with you guys, the CPAs, or whether it's with the client or both, I got to kind of remind them kind of middle, beginning, and end, because it gets lost. There's not a service out there that doesn't perform these tasks, but that's not the reason people come to us. So I still like to assure everybody that, checks, direct deposits, city, state, federal taxes, quarterly and annual returns, W-2s and ACA stuff, just like them, we're going to be able to handle that stuff as well. Now, a few other things that make us different. We integrate with QuickBooks and other accounting programs. Oftentimes I get asked, well, what other accounting programs? And we've done it with just about everyone out there. There are a few in the industry that just, the reality is they're a bit older and they just don't have that ability. So, there's nothing that I can do or we can do if a system doesn't have the ability to upload payroll data. The good news is that at the very least, we can set their chart of accounts up, make sure everything's still going where it needs to. Nobody's manually breaking stuff out. And same with the job costing. Now, other accounting programs too, some of the more higher end Sage ones, Viewpoint, stuff like that, everybody gets set up different ways. Certain people use certain modules while others don't. So we never like to just assume where, like with a QuickBooks, a one file size fits all type scenario can just upload the same thing back, because QuickBooks has one way to upload data for those said clients. These other ones, we like to talk with the company, with them, and make sure that if they're going to rip payroll out of their accounting system, we don't want to leave a void in any of the other modules or reports that they're using, because now we've solved one problem to create another. Okay. Again, we only deal with contractors. So, when people ask, Jim, am I going to have one dedicated person to work with? And I tell them no, they get a little nervous because, whoever they're using at the current time, they basically have taught them construction payroll and brought them up to speed, and they experience, quite a bit of, I don't know if I want to say lag in support, but quite a bit of difference in quality of support when that person leaves, is out sick, or something happens. So the good news is every support rep here, the only thing we do is handle complex construction payroll. So if you talk to Bob today and called in 10 minutes later and talked to Mary, anybody can support these clients. Now, there's also a time card import feature. So some of our clients are using some Excel form, or they're already on a mobile application that they're very happy with. They can export data to Excel, text, or CSV. We can upload from them. We have a mobile app of our own that, the construction industry always stays a little further behind the rest of the world when it comes to technology. So, some people that I work with are really gung-ho about it. Others are more along the lines of, yeah, my employees aren't going to use that. They're not going to figure it out. Or, hey, we've tried that before. It just doesn't work. So, of course, they can just enter payroll right into the payroll service like we'll cover today. But, just moving with the rest of the world in technology, we stay right up there with it. We make our products for contractors. We know whose hands we're putting this in, so we try to make it efficient to help out office staff, but also easy to use for the field staff. Web-based access from anywhere. So again, processing payroll in all 50 states. No matter where you're at, you can log in from any computer with internet and then get payroll in or review payroll reports. And then also, again, back to the technology, a lot of clients now, instead of having to run checks out to jobs, or, well, if they're checks, of course, that still must happen, but rather than have to run just direct deposit stubs, pieces of paper in essence, to job sites. We have a portal where employees can just go right online and get that. If they're going to get a new, house or car and they need an earnings statement, things like that, they can get on their own, be a little more self-sufficient to keep that office staff moving and working on other areas of the business. So how this works is they log in, they enter time, review it. There's going to be a lot of things I can show you where they can review this stuff. This construction, mistakes will be made. It just can't be prevented. But for the most part, we give them the nice ability to have visibility before payroll as well as after. And then they're going to submit it and we're going to take over. Now, I'm going to pop this up here at the end. I'm going to do here real quick a polling question. So let me get this ready here. Okay. All right. So we launched this. Basically, it just wants to know how many states can Payroll4Construction process payroll in? 1, 10, 50, or 25. I'll give everybody a few minutes here, or a minute or so, and then we'll get going once everybody's finished. Looks like we're just waiting on, I think, 2 more people. Again, everybody so far has gotten it right. That's good. But again, a couple more people. Just want to make sure you guys get your credits here. How many states can Payroll4Construction process payroll in? Give it about another minute here before we keep moving. Okay, still looks like maybe one more person. I'm going to have to move on. Want to make sure that you get the CPE credits, though. So, nope, again, it's how many states can Payroll4Construction process payroll in if you're having any issues, or sometimes you get booted out for internet purposes or something. If you come back in, just type your answer in the question bar there. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to do here is I'll pop this up at the end as I start answering questions and stuff like that. Okay. What I'm going to do here is we're going to now pop more into, Payroll4Construction. So again, one of the first things I do, whether again working with the CPA consultant or the client themselves, there is no hiding the fact that this is powered by Foundation. So this can create some confusion, whether they've heard of Foundation or not. If they've heard of it, oftentimes I'm of course asked, hey, so do I have to buy this software? And again, the answer is no. You're logging in online. You don't have to own anything of ours for that. If they haven't heard of it, again, I just like to make the distinction of, hey guys, here's the deal. Foundation is actually, just powering this. And then this is kind of the portal I show them and walk them around, because this is what's going to make or break the deal. This is what is either going to really help the client or not line up for them. And then, of course, we go our separate ways. So one of the first places I start, because again, a lot of people coming to us are union or prevailing wage or something of that sort. So when I go into payroll maintenance, first things first, okay, Employees and workers' comp, I may bounce back to those today. I'm going to try to focus on the main things here. It's going to go about 55 minutes. I think it's 52 or 53 to make sure you guys get this stuff. So I don't want to cut anything short. I want to make sure you get it. So, we're all starting here as, look, union or prevailing wage. So rates and fringes. The problem becomes is these people cross from union A to union B. When Bob works on a private job, his rate's $20 an hour. When he goes to a public job, his rate jumps to 35 and 15 in fringes. So one of the biggest concepts I hammer home is, look, we don't want to control everything by employee. So I'll actually really quickly pop in here without covering every single tab and every single thing we track. But the point is here is when I go in, okay, I can pull up an employee and I can say an employee is an hourly or salaried employee. I can say, here's their rate of pay when they're not on prevailing wage. If they're non-union, they're non-union. If they are, we set up the unions, and then this will be tied to these rate tables I'm going to go to in a second. I can say said employee lives in the state of Ohio, but again, this stuff could change based on where that employee's working and what they're doing. So you're going to see we can control things like rates, union jurisdiction, and state taxes by job. So in a second, when I put in a job, we can just make the client's life a lot easier by saying, hey, employees are going to come, employees are going to go, employees are going to work here, there, and everywhere. So trying to wrangle things in by them becomes very time-consuming, difficult, leads for a lot of chance at error. So with that being said, the job, once the job lands somewhere, once we say, hey, that job's not in Ohio, that job is in Illinois, Illinois needs paid. Or we say, hey, that job is prevailing wage, or that job's not in our home union, it's in a different union jurisdiction. Therefore, it needs paid. Well, if that job lasts 6 months, let's not fight with it week in and week out. Have a spreadsheet trying to figure out, well, because Rick worked here today and did this, then this needs to happen. We can kind of let the system do that. So everything kind of lives and dies in the job and kind of starts with building union scales or building prevailing wage rate tables, whether it's a per job or per county thing. So, if it's union, it's labeled union. Have the classes, have the rates. Cool thing about these tables, they have effective dates. So if you have a union client and they have 20 journeyman electrician, once I update that, it's going to update everybody in one fell swoop. So you don't, again, have to go touch 20 employee records. Also, with that being said, if the rates change, these unions change them on May 1st, June 1st, July, whenever it is, it oftentimes can be midweek, which can make, not every payroll, but that payroll a hassle. So with us, if we change them today for May 1st, it'll use the old rates for Monday, Tuesday, maybe, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the new ones. And it'll timestamp that on things like paychecks and employee reports and certified reports and union reports. Now, if you're non-union, similar concept here. It's just they're not going to be labeled union. It might be prevailing wage, job, or county 3. And then whatever classes the client deals with, no more, no less, will be in here. And this is where, again, for both union and non-union, the rate goes. Then there'd be a similar table for where the actual fringes go. So when I come in here, again, if I pull up a union, okay, well, they have deductions, fringes. They call them different things. They calculate in different ways. They calculate obviously at different amounts. They're taxed differently. There could be limits on these. And then these need rolled over at the same time. So again, this usually, especially a contractor who's tried to outsource before and it just hasn't gone well, this is what I try to do to kind of really, I guess, lower the guard a bit, get them comfortable with, hey, we don't have to go creating anything special for you. I mean, yes, there's unique setup. Yes, there's unique unions and classes and names and numbers. But at the end of the day, we don't have to figure out a way to calculate these things. If you're non-union, again, similar concept. Prevailing wage, job 3, a list of my classes. And here's that $10 fringe. If they're giving it to the employee, it can be taxed. If they are working with some benefits provider, then that stuff can be set up to go to some type of a benefit group. It's non-taxable. And just like union, if they're putting it into a benefit plan, but they go into multiple buckets, that can be set up as well. Okay, So that stuff there is one of the key things to making this work, with the main part of the client's focus. Upon importing employees, setting up their workers' comp, helping set up these unions and wage scale tables, really what a client's life looks like is either, it's entering jobs, either entering time or uploading it from our app or another one, and then just running their reports after they submit payroll and we handle the rest. So in the job record, it is going to look like, and I say this directly to the client, it's going to look like they need to fill in 150 things. Because this is powered by Foundation, some people are doing a lot more out of this from a billing standpoint, from a job tracking standpoint, from a bid standpoint. So, this stuff is in here, but really, as only a payroll service client, the only thing the client is doing is putting in a job name or number, 3. And if this is a private job, or if this is a job that's in their home union, they're not bouncing guys from Union A to Union B, that's really all they need to do. However, when we start talking about controlling things by job, like the taxes, the rates, this is where it can become important to say, hey, I'm an Ohio-based company. I'm sending 10 of my employees over here to work in Wisconsin. So just for the hours and dollars on this job, pay Wisconsin. I don't have to select it upon time of entry. I don't have to go to the employee's record and change them for said period from an Ohio employee to a Wisconsin employee, because you forget to change it back, and now taxes are messed up. Then certified payroll, check that to get certified payroll. The good thing about our system too is, look, it doesn't matter how perfect the client is, how perfect our system is. As I mentioned before, there's going to be mistakes in payroll. They're going to be ones that the payroll person can't avoid because they're dealing with employees, unions, contractors, entities, agencies that just don't always do a great job of passing along accurate information in a timely fashion to them. And unfortunately, when that stuff happens, it's on them to fix it. And that's one of the big time consumers when it comes to payrolls. Even when you get it done, you think you have it done and you think you have your reports done. A week later, 2 weeks later, somebody's, knocking at your door saying, well, hey, no, we do need certified payroll for that job. And when the job was set up, maybe they didn't check that box. Or, hey, Bob was coded to job 1. Well, I just found out it should have been job 2. That causes a whole chain reaction of events in regards to, well, job costing's wrong. Now certified payroll could be wrong. And again, hey, the wrong state could have been withheld. The wrong rates could have been paid. And that, again, is messy. So we have the system built to where they can check this anytime. We can go into what we call our correction genie because, no offense, we don't have the time and we don't want to sit there and spend hours on corrections either. So when we put it through that correction or adjustment genie, it'll go through the system in one fell swoop, update everything so that we're not in there touching 5, 6, 7 areas because, again, time consuming and leaves a lot of chance for error. Now, when we talk about rates, when I come over to union, it's going to be one of two things. If I'm non-union, I'm attaching my rate in my fringe table. So again, I'm overriding rates and taxes here. So what happens is Rick, my guy who makes 15, when he goes there, depending on if he's a laborer, electrician, carpenter, as he gets coded here to, 5234 DA job, well, it's going to pull in whatever the rate and fringe was for said class. If I'm union, this is where I have the ability to say, hey, I have union people coming from local 38, but we're a Jersey client and this is actually up in New York. So this here is where it's going to use their rates if they're higher. If our rates are higher, it can use ours. And then this is what it's asking, what do we need to pay this union? Part of the, just the deductions, just the fringes, maybe just the dues or the entire package. So this is where that job becomes of the utmost important. We spend probably the most time training the client here because we do a lot of the helping and setting up of the rest. But this is where, as long as the steps are taken to override rates and or taxes, that's what's going to make the entry process easier. Or, again, if you upload from a mobile app, and you don't have the ability to do this, and it wants to just consistently say, pay Ohio for Rick and pay him $15 an hour, well, you're saving time on not having to manually enter paper time cards, but you're still costing a lot of time by having to go in there and adjust all that stuff. So that's where job is key. And then when I come here to enter time, we give them multiple different entry options. So some of our clients get time by job. So when they enter time, instead of what I'm about to show you, the per employee thing, some of them actually are looking at a job timesheet. So if you are getting a timesheet for each individual employee, this time entry screen makes all the sense in the world. I pick the employee, jobs and hours across days, I hit OK, pick my next employee. But we could have just as easily said, hey, let's put the job here. So they pick job number 1, list the employees, hours and days, and they can do it that way as well. So again, no contractors alike. They have some similarities in regards to the type of client we're looking for and deal with, but each one's unique in their process. So we try to mold our system as best we can to fit those needs. Okay, now I'm going to just enter a quick time card here. Big question. Hey, my guys work multiple jobs a day. There's no limit. Whether he works 3 hours, 5 hours, and 10 hours on this other job. Some of the clients do more detailed costing than others. Some people just code to the job. Others are coding specifically what they're doing on the job, and that's fine as well. So we would move that in a more logical spot for them. And then what I like to focus on when I hit OK is we're not messing with the rate. We're not messing with the union. We're not messing with the taxes or prevailing wage. So when I hit OK, it just knows based on how job was set up. This one here was set up as private, so he got his 15. This one was prevailing wage job 3. This one's job 1. So it's driving in those different rates, and all those fringes are happening as well behind scenes. And then, again, hey, whether you're different cities, or maybe this said Ohio versus Wisconsin versus Ohio. So again, that job's important to control those things as opposed to trying to all control it up here by Rick. And then things like overtime can be automated after 8 in a day or 40 in a week, or, after, Saturday's always double overtime, Sunday's always double time, or, if they need to do other things like force overtime or do a reimbursement, you know what I mean? Hey, I got to give this guy $100 reimbursement today. Those kind of things can be done as well on one screen and one paycheck. And then, of course, when these are set up, they're set up to be taxed accordingly. So that 100's not going to go, screwing his gross taxable wages up or anything like that. Okay, before we jump into proofing, I am going to throw out another polling question here. So the last one seemed to go okay. Let's try this one. All right. Okay, so this one here is, okay, where can you override / control rates and taxing jurisdictions in payroll for construction? So I'm going to give everybody a few minutes here to answer, and then we'll keep going. Okay, it looks like everyone got it here. So, okay, we are good to go. So the correct answer, yes, is the job record. That is where you can override those types of items. All right, so let's close this one out. Okay, all right. So now, once payroll's in, we have a section called Payroll Daily. I kind of don't navigate the back end as much, but I like to show there's more reports available than kind of the ones I'll click on, but we get the client in a nice flow of what specific reports they want. I mean, this is a multi-user system, so oftentimes there's more than one person's hands in payroll. So if there's like a secured payroll, we can set it up where one user can see that secured payroll, whereas the other can't. And then as each user gets the reports they like, each one will kind of have their own little set of, tasks, or as we call them, quick links, to kind of just bounce around the system quicker, get those key reports right at the click of a button. And then this is just showing everything we just did. These are blue because if there is a mistake found here, they can drill into it, go back, make that edit, and try to catch it before payroll is processed. And they can also run these reports by job. So again, a lot of things in construction driven, ran by job. So I could, with a couple clicks of the button, start tying out job totals. Reports can be ran for day, week, month, year, in between years. So there's no date range restrictions. They can be printed, PDF, Word, Excel, or CSV. And then also they can look at kind of the dollars and cents side of things, see if they forgot to pay somebody, see what their tax liability is going to be, see what their employee paychecks are going to look like. So, they can kind of check the hours and the dollars before they eventually hit submit payroll. They click that, that's when we pay, again, employees and taxes and stuff like that. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is jump into some of those key reports I discussed a little bit earlier on, and just, kind of cover some of those key reports. So first things first, I start here, workers' comp. So again, sometimes they're going to need this just to maybe make a payment, so maybe they just need a rolled up for said date range, classes, hours, earnings, exposure, rate, premium, and totals. But sometimes people are going to dig and, hey, it's been 6 months, it's been a year. We noticed you had $536,000 in payroll, but only paid on $495,000. We need to know why. So they can then come in and break that down, because a lot of times there are caps, whether it's a per class cap, per employee, or more commonly, a per earning type cap. So my guy who makes $21 an hour, he got paid $63 in overtime, but it's letting him know, hey, I still only have to pay you on that $42. That again all depends on state, client. We look into those things, their workers' comp policy, to make sure we're setting it up to run accordingly for them. Okay. EEO minority compliance, as I mentioned before. A lot of places now, which you're going to hear me touch on with certified, are starting to come up with websites for this stuff. So again, if you provide the client with, let's just say, a nice, pretty form like this here, great. A lot of the hard work's done. They track the classes, male or female, race, ethnicity, put all the information you need on a per project in there for you. But if I have to go to a website and I have to just keep typing this stuff in, it's going to become very time consuming. So these are things where, not only can they print it, but they can upload that as well. Now, other reports, earnings, deductions, 401k, employee wage reports, these are things that even during my normal demo, I don't cover. It's not what people are coming to us for. We've never had a client be upset and say, well, hey, you don't have any employee report that shows this. But we've also never had somebody say, we bought you just because of those type of reports. It's, workers' comp, EEO, certified payroll, it's which we'll cover. So electronic here, whether they deal EMARS, California Department of Industrial Relations, like this list used to have 2 or 3 of them in here a couple of years ago. And just every time I run an update, which I need to do one, I think I'm a couple behind. There's probably, when I come in here after I update, going to be a few more of these in here. It's just the way the world's going. So with that being said, the same as the minority compliance, I'll show you, I can get you paper copies, but in this format, when you look at this report, it's like, looks kind of, not good. It looks like data kind of just got flung up against the screen and fell where it fell. But it's all because we want them to take that, hit close, create file now, hit yes, and then when they go to said website, they'd be uploading and selecting the foundation upload. So again, even though they're payroll for construction, using that part of foundation, so it'll work really well. Certified payroll print. So again, every time I come into this list, same thing. It just grows and grows and grows. So I'm not going to click on every one. kind of just slowly go through is, I know we got many different CPAs attending today that are scattered throughout the state. So, as you can see, as I mentioned before, you get into New York and geez, any one of the agencies wants different ones. Jersey has some different ones too. But you go down, you keep going, you hit the federal. The other thing with certified payroll too is, look, even though there's different agency formats, everybody wants something different, it seems. Don't ask me why. I don't complain too much about it because it's a pretty major selling point of my job, and that's what I like to do. So, but you could have one contractor say, hey, we don't want the employee address, or we don't want gender, or we don't want, what's another key one? We want the last four or the full social or none of the social on there. So, just giving the client the ability to say, hey, with a couple clicks of a button, I can still make contractor or agency A happy, and I can also make contractor or agency B happy as well, and then just report the data so that all they're doing is either uploading or printing, signing, and sending this stuff with all the information. So it'll do no work performed. No, it'll do all the information for them, and then it'll also do that signatory page as well. Okay. Now, some other reports, again, I mentioned we can handle the ACA stuff. We give the client the ability to print this stuff if they like. We have a team that will help, like, hey, if they're on that border and they don't know, there's a report that can be ran on our end that says, hey, based on this report and the government rules, you were over 50 full-time employees this year. Therefore, you probably should do this. We could tell them to, hey, check with your CPA. Sometimes CPAs have different ideas, or they have, other things that they want to direct the client on, which is fine. We're just here to provide help. The other two major reports, burden job summary. So this is the one that does a good job, whether they want to roll up and see per job, the hours, the earnings, the FICA, the FUTA, the SUTA, the workers' comp, general liability upon being set up, employer contributions, and then again, if this is a union contractor, union fringes would be there. Okay. Then it gives you totals per job. So not just this number here, but this is the main number they need. And then if they need employee level detail, regular overtime, what employees were there, all that stuff, it'll break it out here. And then this does a nice job too of, there's a burden one for job. And then there's a burden one for employee as well. So when I go to burden employee summary here, this is how they could quickly, without guessing, or without doing some kind of calculation, I'm just going to throw in a big date range here. What they can do here is they can get to, hey, my employee Rick here, here's his hours, here's earnings, but it lets you know with everything else, this guy doesn't cost me $15 an hour. He cost me $21.86 an hour. So just quite a bit of visibility for the job costing side of things. And then lastly, union can be ran just by job. So if you're getting audited for one job, you can peel that out. Or if it's time at the end of the month to go ahead and make that monthly union payment, company name, you got union summary, the date range, the union, then the employees, hours and totals, gross and totals, total each employee put on each benefit, and then a nice summary page of what they owe for that month for that union. Next page, different union, more different benefits, summary page, union, summary page, union, so on and so forth. So this is one of those things where, the union's a little tougher, meaning not to calculate, not to provide reports, but, I get asked sometimes, well, hey, will my union accept this? That I don't know. It's like, I can send you a sample report. You can check. There are too many unions to keep up with. Some of them still do the, carbon copy paper. Some of them have like this dedicated Excel sheet that they must fill out. I tell them the good news is the data's there. You can kick it to Excel. So, 50-50. Some unions will accept our report as is. Others will force you to do something on their end that, you're just going to have to take our information, our numbers, and use. So those kinds of things, you know, we can help with as well. Also, so basically the big things here, okay? Workers' comp, EEO minority compliance, certified payroll, printed and electronic, that job cost reporting and that union reporting. Just being honest, it's the main reasons people come to us. Now, when it comes to support, you know, I always tell people with construction payroll, again, nothing's perfect with it. Nothing will ever make it perfect. So you're only ever as good as your support is. So as I mentioned before, all support is homegrown. It's done by us. We're very hands-on. When we onboard a client, we make them aware. Changing payroll is never fun. So we don't like to try to rush this and do this in a 2 to 3 week time frame. I mean, I tell most clients, depending on size, could be shorter, could be longer, but 4 to 6 weeks, kind of the sweet spot there, depending on the size of the company, because, well, one, there's a learning curve, but two, there's a lot of information being passed over to us. We want to do test payroll side by side. You know, there's little margin for error here, and employees need to be paid correctly and on time, and that's why you're coming to us. So from the start, we're setting it up, we're training them, and then we're hands-on afterwards. So when they call in, they get a live receptionist, live support rep, they click connect, we can see the screen, they can see the screen, we can move the mouse, and they can. So some support calls are more of us being hands-off and visually and verbally guiding them. Some support calls, hey, it's payroll day, I need this fixed immediately. We can take over as if we were in their office with their permission. So what I'm going to do real quick is I want to leave a few minutes here for questions, but I'm going to pop up our last polling question here and give everybody a couple of minutes here. So let's see here. Let's launch this. Okay. Payroll for Construction can provide your client with the following reports: certified payroll, union reports, job cost reports. None of these reports, all of these reports. I'll give everybody a few minutes here. Okay, looks like we just finally got everybody's answered now. Okay, so Payroll for Construction can provide your client with the following reports. It is all of these reports. So everybody got that one as well, so great job there. So let me close this out. And then, you know, at this point, what I'd like to do is just open it up here for some questions. There should be a little tab there that says questions, and you can type those in. We'll spend the last 2-3 minutes here just going over some questions. Looks like we already have one in here. So somebody's asking, what about the ability to produce a check in-house, and how long does that take? I'm guessing you're referring to maybe correction or a lot big layoff, payoff, or termination checks. Yeah, those things happen in this industry. So while we like to see the client get us their normal payroll 2 days before the payroll check date, so let's use Friday, we like to normally see it by Wednesday at 2 or 2:30 for that Friday check date. We've made exceptions. Some of the union turnaround's tight, but that's normal. Now, there's going to be these one-offs, these layoff, payoff, termination, where they can just put it in our system, notify us, and print a check there in-house immediately. So those kinds of things can absolutely be done there. Okay, another person is asking, what does the QuickBooks integration look like? So basically, when they click this button, the easiest thing to show is not so much a file, because we don't let them see or touch the file. We like it to be very easy for them, where basically it kind of goes through an open database connector program that pushes it in. That way it can be reversed out if there's errors and they're not manually manipulating stuff. But when I come in here, basically what's going to happen here is kind of two parts. So it's going to hit their GL. So whether they have more charts of accounts in this, less, it doesn't matter. Each client's different. We ask them to provide us with their chart of accounts. And then on a per job basis, the labor, the FICA, the FUTA, the SUTA. Again, if they're union would go back, workers' comp, and then maybe any other fringe benefits, health insurance, payment, 401k match, and stuff like that. So it does push everything back where they can get, basically get, their financials as well as profit and loss statements in there too. Okay, looks like another question would be is in regards to the job costing with cost codes. Yes, I mean, there's a job costing section here too. So again, just kind of going high level today, showing certain reports, not others. But, some of the clients, will need that breakdown of their current versus to date labor, not just per job, but per individual cost code. And then they can drill into these. That way, if they do need to go to that next tier of data and they need to get into that employee level data, they can see that stuff as well. Another person here is asking to see the 401k IRA report. So I go up here. Again, it's going to be determined on how they're set up and stuff like that. So they can run it for any date range. They can hit report. And they can just see for that month, total transactions. Again, I can add the full social or the last four or none of it. If they're employer matching, whether they're Roth or pre-tax. Again, this can export to Excel or CSV to upload to their provider. And then if I needed that detail of what contributions happened each week over that 4-week period, I can come in here, put history detail, where now here's what we tie out to just like the previous report. But here are all those different items that got us kind of to that level. Another good question for West Coast clients, what being located on the East Coast in Ohio, what are our support hours? What does that look like? So we are open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern. So even on the West Coast, we have tons of clients there all throughout the country. So that's even 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the Pacific Coast there. Okay, it looks like there's no other questions. Real quick here before I let you go, I'll pop it up one more time. So whether you have a client you think we might be a fit for, or whether you just want to talk more one-on-one, or even if you just want pricing to be able to share with a client or your clients, feel free to email me. We're not overly aggressive here. We have a CPA liaison here that does a good job of taking care of you and your clients and stuff like that. So if anybody needs anything else from me, you can call the 800-949-9620. Just ask for Jim Welsh, or you can email me at the jwelsh@payroll4construction.com. So at this time, again, want to thank everybody. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and hopefully I'll hear from some of you or your clients in the near future. Thanks.